Welcome to the cast. We are glad to have you here again with us this week. We have a returning guest, half of a guest. Well, guest, yeah. Your other half isn't here. Half of a pair, yes. So if you had joined us last time with Julie and Eli Phillips, you now see that she is back this week to talk to us some more. She felt that her story needed to continue on, and I love that. So real excited to hear what you have to say. So thank you for coming tonight. As always, our guests, our hosts, Gary's sitting over here in the peanut gallery tonight with Shannon, Timmy. Tia Hiles is helping me, and I am Emily Porter, so we are glad that you are here. So let's get settled in and get started. So tonight, I know that you had reached out to Tim, and you were wanting to speak upon miscarriages, pregnancy loss, infertility, the whole package.
Yeah, I was telling Tim the other day, it's kind of weird because like ever since the podcast started, I've had this picture in my mind of me sitting on this couch and talking about my miscarriages. And it's just a thing, like I hadn't been asked to be here. It's just a picture that just kept popping into my mind. And so when we were asked, I was like, okay, here we go. Like, fine. I have no problem talking about my miscarriages. It's a subject that is not talked about enough in my mind. And then when we were sitting here getting ready to start, I looked at Eli and I was like, I haven't talked to you. Like, are you good if miscarriage comes up? Because it's a big part of my story, our story, but
sure.
More me, more so than him. And he was like, yeah, fine, whatever. And when we got there, we were talking and it just didn't feel right. I was like, I don't know why. It just does not feel like the right thing to say in this moment. Went on with my life. A couple days later, got lunch with Alita.
Yeah.
I love Alita. She's the best. And she was like, that's so weird that it didn't come up. You should go back. Yeah. You need to talk about it. And I was like, yeah, it's weird because like I felt like I should talk to people about it and it just didn't feel right. And so I sat for a few days and then the other day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see if they're interested in that being a topic because it can be touchy. It can be hard for people to hear or to talk about. And it was a resounding yes. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess it's just meant to be. So here I am.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really glad that you had that stirring, that almost uncomfortableness that you're like, okay, I got to finish this story.
Yeah.
And when you said I kept seeing this picture, to me, I'm thinking, okay, it's like a vision. Like the Lord placed that on your heart.
Yeah.
And now you're back here and we're really, really intrigued to start hearing your story. So is there a certain place that you would like to start with, did you already kind of have some health issues before you had gotten married or it just came up after?
No, I was kind of like, I had some like PCOS symptoms, but like nothing super severe or anything. They'd put me on birth control when I was like 18 or something just to get me like regulated, get my hormones fine. And like everything seemed fine from then on. Got married. Everything was totally fine, totally normal. We decided to start trying for a baby in 2022. Immediate. Like literally I got pregnant immediately. I was like, great, this is awesome. I was so excited. The way that IU Health works, I don't know if anybody here has any experience with them, but like they have such a monopoly. Well, in the OB department. I know.
Like, I know a
little bit about IU Health. I meant specifically the OB department.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
They have such a monopoly. They're so packed all the time. I think it was like August, maybe September when I called them. My first appointment wasn't until the end of October. Okay. So it was like a long time to wait. You go in, you go through, the first appointment is just family history. So like I had this like giddy feeling, I was so excited.
Yeah.
Go through all the things and I had to wait another month before my first ultrasound. And so we go in, I was right around 12 weeks and they did the first ultrasound and obviously we know nothing about how it works, but we're looking at the screen and it has all of these different like measurements on it. And down in the bottom corner, it says 6 weeks. And I was supposed to be 12 weeks and we were like, that's kind of odd, but like, we don't know exactly what that's measuring or what that means. And we go in to the office like right after and the doctor comes in and she goes, okay, well, things aren't looking good. And I immediately started bawling because I'm an emotional person. I'm pregnant. I've got all the hormones. It turns out that I had a partial molar pregnancy, which molar pregnancies are when, I can't remember if it's the X or the Y, but you get the wrong amount of chromosomes.
Okay.
I think it's like double Y or something like that. And so I was pregnant. There was something growing. There was no heartbeat. It was not a baby. Like, it was just kind of a, people use the term clump of cells. That's literally what it was. And so it had stopped growing at about the 6-week size. And this doctor was not very gentle in her delivery with what was going on, and basically told me that the best course of action is to terminate the pregnancy. And again, it's a very touchy subject, but to me, I was like, is there any chance? Because I didn't know exactly what a molar pregnancy was. They didn't have quite all of the facts to know that's exactly what it was. They were going to do some blood tests and stuff. And so I was like, if there's any chance, I want to save my baby. I want to have this baby. And she just looked at me like she was shocked that someone would sit there and say that. And she was like, if you really want, we can try to do, I think we waited like a month. We can try to do one more ultrasound, but it's not going to be better. Basically, she basically told me there was zero hope. And so I said, I want to wait. I want to try again. Any hope that we have, I want. So we did the blood test. They came back showing that it was most likely a molar pregnancy. Your HCG levels go like through the roof. So it's supposed to grow to like a specific amount and then level out through your pregnancy at like 1,000 something. And I was in the hundreds of thousands.
Oh, wow.
Counts. And so we waited. My next ultrasound appointment was the week after Thanksgiving. So we had to sit Thanksgiving, and I just sat there and I was like, I don't even know how to be thankful for anything right now. I'm so scared that I'm gonna lose my baby.
Yeah.
And I knew in the back of my mind, like, it's not a baby. It is, but it's not, Go in, shows exactly the same. It had grown maybe a little bit, but at that point it was basically just a tumor.
Yeah.
And so we go in, we see the same doctor, and I asked her again, I said, is there any hope? Because I was trying to grasp onto anything. And she, again, looked shocked, and she was like, I don't know how you think this is still a viable pregnancy. And so we just sat there. She told me that there was no hope, and she gave us a minute. We sat there, and I sobbed. I mean, it's hard to sit there and hear, like, you expect to have this little baby, this bundle of joy, this addition to your family, and the answer is no, you can't.
Right.
So we sit there, and she comes back and she says, the healthiest thing, you can't miscarry naturally with a molar pregnancy. It's really unhealthy, and the highest risk is I could have had a form of cancer from it if I let it sit for too long. And so the only course of action really is to do a D&C, which is the procedure they do for abortions. Yeah. And so we went through it. We do all these things. To me, the salt in the wound is a D&C is a medical abortion. And so my medical history will forever say I had an abortion.
Correct.
Which was not my decision. But we go through that. It's a very easy outpatient procedure. It's fine. Recover totally fine. Afterwards, they want to check the blood count because it skyrockets so high that they want to track and make sure it's dropping. And there wasn't anything. If they miss any of the substance that's in there, it could start growing again. And then it's all the same risk factors. So we go, and it's weekly blood draws. So I go several months weekly, and it was going down, and then eventually it leveled out and it wasn't dropping anymore. So they sent me up to Indy to a cancer specialist up at Simon Cancer Center to make sure that it wasn't cancer, because that was the question, is if it starts growing, it could be cancerous. Do a second D&C to get basically all of the little debris that was missed. After that, everything's fine. That doctor was incredible. She was great. Do the same blood draws weekly, then we go to every other week, down to monthly, and then once it got down to a normal level, just like one more after, I think a month or two later, totally fine, normal. I think it was, the second D&C was in January, and I think it was maybe April or May that we were, like, I was cleared to start trying for a baby again. I think it was May. We did. Once again, I got pregnant immediately. And that was my shepherd pregnancy, which was awesome. He's perfect in every way, shape, and form.
Yes.
Truly a miracle. But the coolest part of his story for me is that my initial due date was June 9th, and his baby dedication here was June 9th.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like the perfect day.
It's like God just, I picture our stories as a basket, and God just weaved that portion back into your present life.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, he's showing you he didn't forget you.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I know that I will always remember the date June 9th, because that's always going to be special to me.
Yeah.
That first June 9th before I was pregnant with Shepherd was really, really tough. Thank you. It was hard because I was supposed to have a baby and I didn't.
Yeah.
But then the next year when it was his dedication, now it's like this really special date in my heart. So that was my first one, and I guess we can go back and talk about details later if we need to, or we can just zoom through and just I can tell my story. But after that, when Shepherd was 18 months or something, we decided we were ready to start trying for a second baby. It took a little bit longer, but still not long again. And we were really excited that this one was very, very different. Two different experiences. Where this one, I took a pregnancy test and it was the faintest line. Like you couldn't see it in certain lighting. And so I was questioning. I was like, I'm so scared for this not to be real, to get my hopes up, to again think I'm gonna have a baby and not. And so I took 3 more. So I took 4 pregnancy tests and they all looked exactly the same. And I called the doctor the next day and I was like, I took these tests, I think they're positive, but I'm really scared. And she was like, calm down, you're okay. If there's any kind of line, it's real, it's positive, congratulations. So excited. That was a Tuesday night. That Thursday, Eli and I had some kind of issue, and we came in, we were meeting with Darren and Aaron and Pastor Chris that Thursday evening, and we decided that we needed to take the month of June. This was last year, 2025. Just need to take the month of June off, the worship team, and sit for a month. Right after that meeting, I went home and I started bleeding immediately. And it was literally 2 days later. So I in my mind, I mean, you find out at like 4 weeks, but in my mind, I've been pregnant for not even 48 hours.
Yeah.
And it happened again. And it was just so hard. And I don't know why. With the first one, the molar pregnancy, it was like, there's these steps you can take. You need to do this, have this procedure. We need to check your blood. We're going to monitor you and make sure you're back to normal. This time it was just, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
You just have to sit. They say, you don't have to go back on your birth control, but wait like a cycle. Wait till you have a normal cycle and then you should be okay. So I just had to sit and wait. And the sitting and waiting just happened to be the month we were sitting off the worship team. And I mean, I've never had like these huge, like moments that I feel like are my big testimony. Like God showed up in this moment, but that month he did a lot in my heart and, in me spiritually. And it was just perfect. The perfect month to sit out. And again, I mean, once we were okay to start trying, obviously we have Shane now and another perfect baby. His pregnancy was a little bit tougher. There was nothing crazy wrong. His first ultrasound showed a couple of strange little things. So they had me do the genetic testing. They were worried about Down syndrome and that kind of stuff. Everything came back fine. Yeah. I don't remember what else. There was something else that they were mildly worried about, but he's probably okay. And then my whole labor with him was, well, there's a couple concerning things. And, his heartbeat would just kind of drop for a while and come back. And the nurse that was in there, she was awesome. She would say, I look for 4 things when I'm monitoring a baby's heartbeat when you're in labor. And one thing he just won't meet consistently. And so they would flip me one side, flip me to the other side, hands and knees, do all the different things. And these poor nurses had to help me. I had an epidural. My right leg was completely dead.
Oh my
so they put me on hands and knees, and they're holding me.
Epidural. Oh my, yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah, but we did all these things, and he just wouldn't be happy. His heartbeat wouldn't stay exactly what she was looking for. I was in labor for 19 and a half hours with him, and by the time it came to start pushing, the doctor looked at me and she said, "We can try a little bit, but I think we need to vacuum him. We need to get him out of there." And so again, it's just, he's probably okay, but we just want to make sure. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, that whole 19 and a half hours, I don't think I slept more than 5 minutes of it. Mm-hmm. The whole time was thinking, I can't have a stillborn. I cannot have a stillborn. And I did it. And he's great.
Sure.
Vacuumed him out, totally fine. But I was so scared. And, for some reason, one of the YouTubers that I follow, right before I had my first loss, I found, and it was years after she had posted all this stuff, she had posted a whole video series about her miscarriage. And I was like, I don't know why it keeps coming up on my YouTube, just keeps coming up. And I watched all of it. And of course I watched it and I cried. I'm like, oh, that's such a sad thing that happens to people. And she said, I had no knowledge, nothing. You don't know anything going into this kind of stuff. And so I'm just here to share my story because nobody talks about it. And I was like, wow, it's so brave of her to share her story. It's awesome. I'm so glad I've never gone through that. A few months later, I lose mine. And then this time with Shane, I was so scared because that same YouTuber, she has a podcast with her husband, and they had a friend of theirs on who had multiple miscarriages and a stillborn. And so I had that thing in the back of my head. I was like, is it the same thing happening? Is it the same thing that came up and I happened to listen to that and now I'm going to lose my, a third pregnancy, but it'd be a stillborn. And I don't know if I could recover from that. And so that's my miracle with Shane, is that he, I had all these stories and I've heard all of this stuff, and it's so sad. And anyone who's gone through that kind of stuff, I just feel for them. But I didn't have to go through it with him, and he's so perfect. I mean, now it's like we have to go get a helmet to fix the shape of his head. And that's the worst thing that's happening. Yeah. And he's so great otherwise. And it's just, I guess I felt like I needed to come back and share because it's not talked about. And I think the statistic I heard is like 1 in 4 pregnancies and then a loss. And it's so different. Even just me, my 2 different stories are vastly different. And between people, it's different, and every story is different, and it just, nobody talks about it. No. And that makes it even harder to talk to people about, because you then, you have all these hormones, and it always comes back to, what did I do wrong? Yeah. How did I ruin this? How did I make this happen? And you didn't. It's never your fault. I mean, I'm sure there's some cases that somebody did something wrong, but it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. It just happens. It's genetically, that's just how it came together, and it's so common, and you just don't hear about it.
That, I'm sure you probably felt that I was the enemy trying to get into your mind and say, this, you did this is your fault, your problem. And then so you start kind of just worrying, and then that festers and just grows and grows and grows. So let's go back a little bit to when you said you had taken the month off. And so you had that time, and while that time was glorious, you had that still moment with the Lord. At the same time, did you feel like you needed to have a distraction to kind of keep you from worrying more about it?
Oh, absolutely. That I think I was trying to get to, and I didn't end up saying it, but that second miscarriage was so much harder for me to process mentally. And I think to some extent, already having a toddler to occupy my time makes it harder. Like, I don't have time to just sit and process it. But it was so much harder. I couldn't do anything. And that, I mean, I would just sit on the couch and waste away for days because I just didn't know what to do with myself. And to me, it was just like, there's nothing I can do. There's something so wrong with me that there's nothing I can do to fix this. And I just have to deal with the fact that I'm broken. You know, and not like spiritually broken, just like I am a broken person because obviously something doesn't work right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember what you asked me.
It's okay. I was just saying that, you know, sometimes when, you know, things happen, you tend to busy yourself. A lot of people busy themselves with something to distract them from grieving through things properly.
Yeah. I guess I did the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sat and it consumed me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't grief. It was something more like I was beating up on myself. And one day, I mean, Eli looked at me. He was like, I don't know how to help you. Like he was trying and the first night that I had started bleeding, I sat down and he's just holding me because I was sobbing. Shepherd was already in bed, thankfully, but I was just sitting there and I was sobbing, and I looked up and he had put on Big Hero 6, which is my favorite movie, and it was like 10 minutes into the movie and I noticed it for the first time, and I was like, this is what I need, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, he does little things like that, and one day he looked at me, he said, I don't know what else to do for you. I don't know how to help you, because I mean, he processes it in his own way, and he moved on a lot faster than I was able to, and so one day he was at work, and I put Shepherd in the back of the car and I just went for a drive. And I turned on some worship music, and I think I drove around for a couple hours. And I just sat there and I just let the music speak to me. I mean, you guys know music is huge to me.
Of course.
I do a lot of driving. I love driving.
Yeah.
God shows up in the car for me.
Yeah. That's amazing that you went into the spot expecting God to meet you there. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The War Room, but that's what makes me think, like, you found that spot, you went to your closet per se,
right,
and you expected God to be like, hey, I'm here, hey, meet me where I'm at. I'm broken. And I'm sure that there were probably I don't know how much you shared with people around you, the miscarriages, things like that, but sometimes when you walk in a room, you still feel like the loneliest person. And you don't know how to tell people, or they don't know how to help you because they have not been through it.
For sure.
So how would you tell women in our church? We have a lot of younger women. I specifically know a couple people that have struggled with things like this. How would you encourage them, give them any hope, you know, that even if it's some that can't even have children, how would you kind of say, where do you find your hope at?
It's not your fault. And that, I feel like that's something that people say a lot about this, and it no matter how many times you hear it, it still feels like it. It is not your fault. It is not something wrong with you. I don't know why it happens, but for me, I think my story is my story to share with people. And as much as I don't like the way I've gotten here, I can be here for people now. And I've talked to people and I share with them what's happened to me, and they say, wow, I really needed to hear that. And so everything happens for a reason. God has a plan for everything. For me, I think it's to share and to be able to be there for other people, which is why it was so weird when we were here last time. I didn't feel like I should share it. Yeah. But whatever your way of connecting with the Lord is, jump to it. Because with that second one, I didn't. I just wanted to sit and watch my TV show, and I guess in a way that is a distraction, but I would just sit there and like play games on my phone or on my computer or whatever, and just sit and think about how terrible it was and how terrible my life is. I mean, Shepherd's great, my marriage is great, but I'm not. There's something wrong with me, and I needed that time. I needed that drive that I took, the music that I was listening to. There's a song that through both of them, both losses, I listened to on repeat. It's called Let the Ground Rest by Chris Renzema. And it just, that's the kind of stuff that I needed. I needed that music. I needed that time. And I wish I would have jumped to it sooner. I wish I would have just trusted that it would be okay. Because that's what I was able to do more so in that pregnancy with Shane, where they kept saying, well, there could be all these things that could be wrong with him. And I was able to think, okay, it could be wrong. And if it is, that's okay. But I know that no matter what, the Lord's there for me and will carry me through. And in my delivery room, I've got this giant playlist where anytime, like if Brandon Lake releases a new album, I just put his whole album in my playlist. And I think this playlist is like 28 hours long or something.
That's awesome.
And so I just put on my playlist, and one of the nurses that I had, she walked in, she was like, I love that music. Aww. I love that artist. I love hearing that. And so I always had my music going, and that whole time I was in labor, I just on repeat in my head, I know it's going to be okay. The Lord's going to take care of it. I know it's going to be okay. God held my baby. I know it's going to be okay. And so just jump to wherever your war room or whatever it is that you need, wherever you go, just do it. Don't shy away from it, because it will be okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So, well, let's talk a little bit about Eli. You know, you married him because you love him dearly, like he is your best friend. But, you know, in that moment of happiness and marriage and stuff, you don't plan for those things down the road to happen. And so when you have Eli, that shows how important it is to pick your spouse, and because he is your support during that time. And like he showed you the love of Jesus during that time, even though he didn't know what to do, he was your support. And so that right there is just another testimony for you to tell people like how important it is to have, to reach out and seek a spouse that loves the Lord and puts them first in their life, because they're going to know how to treat you properly. And so what a blessing from God to give you Eli.
Absolutely.
Through that whole scenario. And like you said, you know, he may have gotten through it faster, but you still went through it together, and I'm sure he grieved in his own way.
Oh, for sure. And again, I think that it's sometimes harder for the woman to go through it, just because, you know, you have all of these hormones that go along with it, and that just makes everything harder. It makes everything in life harder, whether the pregnancy continues or not.
And having other ladies that you're close to kind of talk with, because a lot of times men are like, I have zero clue what you're going through.
For sure.
And other ladies, I mean, just with normal womanly stuff. Two of our guys have already hopped out.
They did. They're like, I don't know what to say.
That's really true though, because it just, every time I hear a story like this, I'm like, I couldn't, like, God made me male because I couldn't even approach what has been experienced. And like,
so wow. Like that's what you do need, and like you are going to help ladies, you know, in the future who are listening to this and who are like, oh yeah, I'm not alone, because Satan does want to isolate us in any way he possibly can, and tell us that we're useless and that we, you know, are broken and all of that. And so thank you for, you know, sharing, because there are going to be women who need to hear what you have to say. And so when they go through it, they know, oh, I can talk with her, or I can talk with her, you know. So we need those women in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, like, for my first one, I didn't have, there were people willing to talk to me. There was nobody I knew of that had experienced.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so glad that we actually spoke about this in the podcast, like brainstorming session. Like, we need to have somebody on talk about miscarriage. And it was like, how do you approach approach somebody. And so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
when you said, hey, I want to talk about this, I was like, that's why I told you, like, oh God, you took care of all of this
Yeah.
for us, because that's a really hard, hey, I know you have had a miscarriage. Could you talk about it? You don't want to come up to somebody and ask them about that. So
Right.
like God answered
Right.
our prayer through you by you saying, hey, I want to talk about this, because the more we talk about it, the more we realize, okay, I can go to these different, these different people.
Yeah. And when I did go through that first one, there were several people who came up to me, and because I had told some people around, and especially at work, like word travels fast. And so there were people that came up to me and said, I went through a miscarriage and I lost a baby. I went to my asthma specialist and I had told him that I was pregnant because they want to see you more frequently when you are. And then the next time I went in, I told him that I had lost my baby, and he said my mom had 8 miscarriages.
Wow.
And so again, it's so much more frequent. And I said, I think it's 1 in 4. I have a 50% success rate.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And, I still feel like eventually I hope to have another baby, and I'm terrified. Am I going to lose another one? Am I going to keep that 50%? But at the same time, like, it's just part of it. And if that's my story, is I lose one, I have one, I lose one, I have one, I lose one, I have one, then that, so be it, But it's amazing when that word travels, how many people will come to you and say, I feel for you because I've been there. I just had no idea.
Yeah. You don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a relief like that is when people you have no idea have went through something like that. And for you not to know that they had went through it, maybe some people are private, but I think this specific topic, it's just because it's not talked about enough, like you had mentioned. It's not talked about at all. I don't know if it's like a feeling of being ashamed of what happened because you're blaming yourself, and that's not what the Lord wants us to live in that cloud of shame. But I do think it's something that definitely needs to be out in the open, whether it is the miscarriage, whether it is the infertility, this right here is a good conversation that once it goes out into the church, there may be people that, are struggling with this currently. I'm sure it's, if you're okay, or whoever, anybody, any of us, topics that we discuss gives us an opening to meet that person at the altar and like pray with them and encourage them and let them see that your story was brought through by the love of God. And just sitting with you, I lost a baby a month ago and I had surgery too. So I appreciate you filling this in. I haven't really told a lot of people, but somebody asked me Saturday night that I didn't even know. They asked me about my, did I get married and stuff, and they said, oh, I'm so sorry that you lost the baby. And I said, you don't have to be sorry. Like, this is my time to tell my story to help others. And so you telling your story just has blessed me so much. And I don't know about you, but like walking into church, I mean, Tia knew, I told Tia and I told a few others, but like, and some people I had no idea had went through it, reached out to me and told me, and like, that settled me so much.
And being able to look at them and say, you went through this and you're okay.
Yeah.
So I'll be okay too.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, you need that sometimes. And that's not even just with losing a baby. That's anything.
Oh,
you went through that and
100%.
you're okay. So I have that. I know that my story can be okay too.
Yep. Absolutely. You're exactly right. Whether it's some kind of tragedy or, cancer, health things, it could be just family issues, money issues, anything. It definitely pays off to know your community and to surround yourself. And like Tia said, God did not call us to isolate, but that's what the enemy wants.
Yeah.
He wants to kind of get you off into your corner And I've seen it, and I'm currently seeing it with some people right now. It's you're isolating yourself, and it's, I can see the enemy chipping away. And so you just, like you said, you just kind of want to wallow in your own thing and not go anywhere and not talk to anybody. But the best thing is just to be surrounded by people that can just hold you up. Yeah. It's kind of like the story in the Bible. I think of, I'm not good with scriptures and I can't tell you where it's at.
Yeah.
But the story in the Bible where the lame man was sick and he had people lower him through the roof because he couldn't get to Jesus. And when you have people that surround you and will carry you, not necessarily lowering through the roof of the church here, but, just carry you at the altar, carry you through the day, carry you through the week. It is such a game changer. Yeah. Such a game changer. And for some people, it's like best friends. Some people, it's family. But to have your church community, like to know, it just blows me away. Yeah. Blows me away that, like you said, people that reached out, and it's just like, thank you. That makes it better.
It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went for a very long time in my life. Like I said before, like I never had, that Jesus moment. Some people have these incredible stories of like, I heard the Lord's voice, or I remember Melissa saying she had like this vision of you and she knew she was going to have her husband. I never had that. And so for a long time it was like, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I know that he died for my sins, but like, I don't have a testimony. Yeah. I don't have a big testimony. Careful what you wish for, because this is my testimony. And
absolutely.
And it's amazing to be able to see that, like, as much as it didn't feel like it, and it wasn't a moment.
Yeah.
It's something that I had to walk through, and people's testimonies look different, and mine is across several years. It started in 2022, and now it's 2026, so 4 years long. But I get to have that testimony now. I get to have that story to share, and it doesn't, when it happens, it doesn't feel like God. Yeah. It doesn't feel like this is how I share Jesus with the world or with my people, but now I can look back and say, June 9th, that's my day. Yeah. Because the Lord brought me through it, and that is my testimony, and being able to share and help people is just, it's, I think I said this last time we were here, it's hard for me to reach out to people. It's hard for me to walk up to someone I don't know and say hi, and introduce myself, but being able to like share my story makes me feel more comfortable, makes other people feel maybe like I'm more approachable and they can come talk to me, which I'm always open to. And so I have that testimony now, and it's just incredible the way that it all just comes together and is orchestrated.
Absolutely. And that's why we're so thankful for the podcast, because this is just another way to get it out. Yeah. And I'm like you. I have a hard time going to people. Yeah. And, you have to buck up and like do it, but it sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to say. So for you to say this, it's just, it's something that we are so appreciative of. And I really appreciate you being vulnerable and open and willing to come back. And like Tia said, it's an answer to prayer, because yes, we did talk about this, and some people in the church have dealt with this, but how, like she said, how do you approach someone to say, hey, would you like to talk about this story? Yeah. And so I'm just so thankful that you're open to telling us everything that has went on. And it's definitely just you can see that like God is working in your life. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming back. And if you have more things, just let us know. We'll bring you back.
Hey, you know what? Okay, so I came in last time thinking I do not want to talk about myself. I still don't want to talk about myself. I don't like talking about myself. But I came in like so nervous. Yeah. And then I left, and the next morning I texted Eli. He was already at work, and I was driving to work, and I was like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I had so much fun last night. So anytime you want to have me back.
Okay.
We have a
I'll
blast.
come back.
We have a blast.
Absolutely.
On the podcast.
It is fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Get down to some deep, deep stuff, but we have a
Yes.
good time too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to share before we close out?
I wanted to quickly just touch on postpartum being a thing too.
Okay.
I've been very blessed with my postpartum experience. Both times, Shepherd, I had basically nothing crazy. Obviously, you physically recover and you're fine. This time, it's been a little bit tougher for me. Mm-hmm. And again, like I wouldn't even say that it's been postpartum depression. It's not been quite that bad, but I have a history of body image issues in general. Mm-hmm. And so this time, after having my second baby, after Shepherd, I dieted really hard and I lost more weight than I had before being pregnant with him. And I was very proud of myself and I was very proud of the progress I had made. And this time I had Shane and it's been tough. I'm that person who looks in the mirror and I say, wow, I hate what I see. Mm-hmm. And that's been, postpartum has been tough on that. Mm-hmm. Really, really hard. And I'm that person, again, that I look at the scale and the number means more to me than it should. Mm-hmm. And I look at that number and I think I'm still at the weight that I was when I first came home from the hospital after Shepherd. How can that be? Mm-hmm. And I'm working through it. I'm not, again, it's not been to the level of postpartum depression, but I think that it's also healthy to talk about those postpartum hormones and that mindset that you can get into, because I know that different people have different things they focus on postpartum. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, at least for my experience, they'll say, don't worry about your weight, breastfeeding is going to fix it, because you burn a lot of calories breastfeeding. My babies don't breastfeed. Neither of them could latch well. So Shane's already on formula. We switched Shepherd to formula. I had a couple of friends, incredible people that had frozen a lot of breast milk and donated it to me with
that's
Shepherd.
awesome.
And so I stopped breastfeeding him at 3 months and he was on milk until 6 months. I have a friend who she overproduced and she would be like, hey, you want 100 ounces of milk? Sure. A few weeks later, hey, I have another 100 ounces. You want it? Yeah, sure.
What a blessing.
I know.
What great
absolutely
friend.
Incredible. But so I didn't have that avenue to go to think about losing my baby weight and all of that. And again, this time I don't have friends who have just had babies this time to help me out. And formula is also an incredible blessing.
Yeah.
But I don't have that, and so I'm having to find my own route and my own thing to figure out how to manage that. And I've had to work through the hormones. We're a little over 3 months now to where I'm kind of getting a little bit more normal again. But there would be times I'd just sit and I don't know why, but I'd be sitting and I'd be like, I need to go look at myself in the mirror and think about how bad it is. Why do you do that to yourself? That's a dumb thing. Don't do that. But I'm sure you've had your own story with postpartum, and again, it's okay. It's okay. But I feel like that's something else. I'm probably not the right person to do a whole little sit down about postpartum, but somebody needs to talk about postpartum, because that is, people make jokes about it. I think Tim one time made a joke about how he got his gray hair from Melissa being postpartum. People make jokes about people make jokes about it, but it's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I don't have a great story for that, but it is something that needs to be talked about too.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you have a postpartum story,
please let us know.
yes,
Please. I'd like to speak on it.
Yes, if you are brave and you would like to share a little bit of that in your story, reach out. So thanks for putting that blurb in there.
Yeah.
Get the ball rolling. Yeah. So all that is very important, 100%, because I think a lot of women struggle with body image in general. I mean, men do too, but a lot of women do. And then with postpartum on top of that,
for sure,
it's just like explodes. So definitely something that I think would be a great topic we could talk about in the future with whoever would like to.
Please do. I need to hear it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you may pour into Julie, and who else, who knows who else. And that's, again, why we do these podcasts, because it is it's proving true that there are other people in the church that are going through the same things. People, whoever sits on this couch is not the only one that is experiencing whatever they're going through. So to share their testimony, their story with the Lord, it only can help others for sure. So thank you very much for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Tia,
for having me.
thanks for sitting in.
Well, thanks for both of you being very vulnerable.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, and Tim, thank you for being the only man that didn't run away.
The only man that it's only because he's at that computer.
He's sitting over there like,
I'm sure he
These
had
other
the thought,
guys are
could I
cowards.
walk away?
yeah.
Would it still record if I left the room?
No, but Emily about made me cry. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Julia's over here. She's got tears, and I'm just like getting ready to burst over here.
None of it was easy.
So it was a good episode, and
Really good.
again, we really appreciate it. So we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight on the cast. If you are on Facebook, YouTube, Apple, whatever it is that you're listening to, make sure that you like the post, share with your friends. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button, so that will continue to give you notifications of when new episodes come out. And we will see you next time on the cast.
This has been The Cast, a podcast of Bedford First Assembly of God in Bedford, Indiana, with Gary West, Emily Porter, Tia Hiles, Shannon Hiles, and Tim Ray. Listen for new episodes of The Cast every Monday.